Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Yes, we are.
I see all the icons. We ready?
Yes, we are.
Beautiful. Good morning, Rabotai Berochim Abaim. Wednesday, the 18th day of Tevet, corresponding to the 26th day of December 2018. Today's breakfast, La'ilui Nishmat Eliyahu Amar Ben Sarah Alav Shalom, graciously sponsored by his family, Mrs. Penina and Isaac Cohen, as well as by Mr. David Amar. May be that Be'ezat Hashem, the merit of today's class, as well as the berachot that the Kahal will recite in his loving memory, will be an elevation for his soul. Amen.
Amen.
Today's Gemara, I got a lot of comments before I start about yesterday's class, that we were talking about the tikkun for abortion, and a person asked me the following question, and I'm going to keep it short and sweet. What happens if husband and wife were involved in this decision? So the short answer is that the teshuvah in this case needs to be collective for him and for her. Although the wife is the designated messenger of God to bring a soul into the world, but as the Talmud writes, without the husband's participation, the wife can get pregnant. And if anybody has more questions on this topic, do it in a private setting. Today we'll discuss the topic of the Gemara from Baba Messiah. How to find or how to deal when it comes to money. Money is a necessity in a person's life. You need money to pay school, you need money to buy food, you need money to support your family, you need money to give to your wife, whatever situation in life you need. But the question is, after God blesses the person with money, how do we keep the money? In other words, what should I do with money? So comes the Gemara, and it says that a person needs to have, Amar Rabbi Ishaq, לעולם יכספו של אדם מצוי בידו. A person needs to always have access to money. For what purpose? The Mefarshim explains that in the event that you will have a great business opportunity or an opportunity to buy merchandise immediately, you will have access to money. You know, it's like somebody has money in a CD, right? Or you have the money in an account that you cannot touch for the next 2 years. And now suddenly you have a great deal, but you cannot do the deal because you don't have access. So the Gemara is going to give us what percentage of our money and how our money should be distributed. So the Gemara gives you the formulas. I'm not asking for your life experience at this time, but I'm going to let the Gemara do the talking, because I'm sure that each person has a different way of looking at the world of financial investment. So the Gemara writes, Amar Rabbi Ishaq, Le'olam yashlish adam et ma'otav. You need to diversify your assets. Shelish bekarka. A third, invest in real estate, especially in lands. In the olden days, buying lands seems to be, which equals today, buying properties. And even buying properties, you need to open up your eyes and make sure you buy the right thing. Don't buy based on pressure or emotions. Buy with sechel. Shelish beparkamatya. A third, in merchandise, whatever business you have. Ushlish tahat yado. And a third should be with you. Meaning to say, keep it in the bank. Whenever a situation comes, you write a check, you slide the debit card, and you can buy the merchandise, you can buy whatever you need without any issue whatsoever. Which in English, I think the statement will be, don't put all your eggs in one basket, correct? Especially in the stock market, which we wish the stock market to have a refuah shelema. Soon is in an intensive care a unit at this moment. You can put it there, please. Yeah, thank you so much. No problem. No, not to worry. And therefore, we see what's going on with the market. Market is diving. I hope we'll have Tehiyat HaMetim soon. Say amen.
Amen.
I'm sure many of our listening audience has some action in the stock market. Same thing with interest rate. They're going higher and higher. We have 5.25 now. I remember the days of 3.25. So the world of economics are very volatile. And that's why one of the things that we must have is A, Emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, B, do things with sechel. Don't become, too afraid neither, because that's not good for the person's life. But pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for Parnasah, as we mentioned before. Another formula, we were talking about this class, about the Hazanut concert that will be held tonight here. And we may have a surprise Hazan. Yes, I'm not going to tell you his name until he shows up, for obvious reasons. But the Gemara reinforces what I said to him before. Amar Rabbi Ishaq, ena beracha mesuya ela bedavar samui min ha'ain. The less you talk, the better. Don't say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, because you end up doing nothing. The Mishnah writes in Pirkei Avot, Emor me'at va'aseh harbe. Say little and do a lot. The problem with us is that we say a lot and we do little, the Mishnah writes in Pirkei Avot. And therefore it says that the things that are hidden from the eye have great beracha. Because we know that the eye can give you ayin hara. And there are two ways of ayin hara. One ayin hara can be achieved by the person themselves creating an ain, creating an attraction to yourself. Okay? For example, and I hope that what I'm going to say now doesn't apply to anyone. And if it does, it's only a fictional example and nothing targeted with somebody in mind. But let's talk about driving a car. Cars are very interesting, very modern, very cool. But we all know in the world of vehicles, of cars, that certain cars in certain colors have a higher price. If you buy a red car, for example, you pay more than buying a blue car. If you buy a hot yellow car, or a bright orange, or neon green, certain models, you will pay more. You will pay more insurance. But why do you pay more? You know why? Because that is a car that attracts the view of people. You want to draw attention? Drive those type of cars. And those who are in the business car dealership, don't take it the wrong way. I have a few customers in the class that are in the car business. But this is the metziut. This is the reality. As I mentioned in the past, there used to be a billboard in Miami, not any longer because that car is no longer cool, but in those days, when the first that car came out the first year, the sales speech of driving this car was, be the envy of the block. Yani, they guarantee you that if you drive this car, people will give you the ayin hara. That's what the billboard says, not me, it's marketing. Yani, they tell you, if you have this car in your driveway, everybody will look at you. And what is the Gemara is telling us? Be away from the limelight. Don't have the spotlight shine on you. Continues the Gemara. Tana the very Bishmael. The Gemara brings a different source to support the same. En הבראכה מסויה אלא בדבר שאין העין שולטת בו. Beracha is found on things that no one sees. Meaning to say, let's say you took a trip to Israel, right? and you're talking to your friends, and you say, yes, I did my son's bar mitzvah in Israel. I flew first class. We went to the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. We are a boss taking, relax. No, it's not me. I'm only giving an example. Okay, today, okay, Hazako Baruch. I'm sorry to hear that. Should have refuah shelema as well. But anyways, guess what? When somebody's listening to you talking about you flew first class, you went to this type of hotel, you had this type of accommodation, you took 15 suites, what does automatically that creates? I tell you what it creates. Number one, jealousy, envy, kin'ah. You don't want that to you. You don't want to attract negative attention to you from others. But what else it attracts? Ain hara. And that's what the Gemara says. You did the bar mitzvah of your son or grandson in Israel, Mabruk, Mazal Tov. Next. You don't have to spill the beans, as they say in America. You don't have to be so honest. You need to be honest, but not in this matter. How was your Pesach? Very nice. That's it. You're going to say, I went to Cancun, right? Or Bahamas. Or whatever.
I don't go.
Me neither. Mykonos, whatever. Every year we have a new place to go. Continues the Gemara. Aholech lamud et gorno. A person who goes to measure the numbers in the field. What does this mean? You need to separate ma'aser. You need to separate ma'aser from your field. So what do you need to do? You need to measure. But hold on. Before we mention that the less you count, the more beracha it is. So now what the Gemara is telling you, that you need to count. So the answer is that you're counting for the purpose of a mitzvah. Because sometimes a person can give themselves ain hara. How? Very simple. You have a great day in the business, or you have a great hour in the business, and then suddenly, as I said the other day in one of the morning classes upstairs, you start making a calculation in your mind. Oh, today from 8 to 12, I saw $5,000. At the end of the day, 10,000. At the end of the week, 60,000. At the end of the month, 240,000. At the end of the year, $3 million. And guess what? No customer walks into your store for the next 2 days. What happened? You gave yourself the ain hara. That's why don't go to the register every hour, unless you're doing for supervisory purposes only. But in this case, the Gemara said, before you start measuring the yield of your field, you need to say a prayer. A short prayer. What is the prayer? May it be the will of the Almighty that I should find blessings in the actions of my hands. After or in the middle of counting, you say, blessed be he who sends blessing to this field. And it says that when you say this blessing, it cannot be after you did the counting. Because once you finish the counting, the beracha is too late. You should say it while you're counting, because that gives you the inner thought that the blessing that you have is not yours. Is the blessing given to us by Borei Olam. And that's why a very famous pasuk from the parasha in Sefer Devarim that says, Al tomar bilbabecha, don't say to your heart, to yourself, Kohi ve'osem yadi, me, myself and I, Ela bezacharta et Hashem Elokecha. Remember God, that is the one who gives us the success and the achievements that we have in our life. Now, with this, we'll move on to the next topic of the day. And I think that to summarize 1 second, the Gemara is the concept of counting our blessings. Be happy with the berachot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, and don't take nothing for granted. Sometimes people go to sleep wealthy, and God forbid, they wake up poor. And sometimes people go to sleep poor and wake up wealthy. And this is definitely attributed in our days when it comes to the stock market, Bitcoin, you have Refuah Shelema as well, and many cryptocurrencies that in the early days people perhaps may have invested based on the heat of the moment, and today, lo aleno velo alechem, maybe, they need a great miracle. But it's definitely a great a way of attracting God's blessing, as I said before, counting our blessings, and understanding that Borei Olam is in the driver's seat of our parnasah, being careful with ma'aser, being honest in business, paying salaries on time, treating employees and customers with respect. All these are simple free tips that the stock market does not give you, and the financial advisor does not give you, but these are free tips that come from our beautiful Torah. Today's Zohar Kadosh, a drop different than the topics that we have been learning for the past few days. We discussed on Sunday that we are into an 8-week spree of personal holiness, family purity, and a season for atonement of sins related to morality and the Berit Milah. Today the Zohar talks about two different colors, the color white and the color red. These two colors can be related in physical life to milk and meat, blood and milk. The whiteness of the milk, the Zohar says, the white represents purity, represents holiness, represents godliness. That is the reason why the bride usually wears a white gown. This is why when we look at Shamayim, we see a color, but usually the lighter the color, the better it is. On the other hand, red, the color of din. Hence, when a wife, a lady, has a cycle, the cycle is called the period of niddah. If you reverse the word niddah, gives you the word din. There is a period of judgment that the female body experiences that creates a separation between husband and wife. And that's the reason why, a girl, a single girl, until the day that she goes to the mikveh, prior to her marriage, she is on a state of niddah. And that's where we bring up the halakha called shomer negi'ah. Shomer negi'ah is a term that discusses the physical contact between a single boy and a single girl. So shomer negi'ah means a couple that they have self-control on themselves. They don't touch each other until the night of the wedding. That is a very holy and lofty way of living. Besides from the halachic perspective that your fiancé is niddah until she goes to the mikveh. And we know the halakha is that a person cannot touch even his wife when she is niddah. So this girl that you're going out with, she's not your wife. She may be your wife. And therefore our holy rabbis established certain boundaries that God forbid a man or a woman does not cross a certain line, and that creates the touch is magic. In a good way, don't pay too much attention to what I'm saying. You're still in elementary school. Okay? But you can listen. Keep your distance. Keep your distance. And if this is mentioned about a wife, your wife, the mother of your children, while she is niddah, for sure is applicable with a girl that she can potentially become your wife, but as of this moment, you are on a date stage, and therefore, from a Torah perspective, from a halakha perspective, no physical contact could happen. Why? The simple answer is that the physical touch is very powerful, and I don't think that I need to expand on this, especially to the married men. But when a young man and a young girl do have a physical contact, one step leads into the other. The physical, the emotional, the hormonal, and we all know the unhappy end of the story that sometimes accidents do bring to the person. I'm going to jump to a whole different topic related to the color red and the color white. We know that there is a Torah prohibition of mixing meat and milk. We know this halakha. Everybody knows basar behalab is forbidden. Now, the Torah does not give us a reason why a person is not allowed to mix meat and milk. But the pasuk says it 3 times in the Torah: the prohibition of consumption, the prohibition of deriving benefit, and the prohibition of cooking meat and dairy together. All these 3 prohibitions are based on the pasuk of the Torah that says, Lo tevashel gedi v'halev imo, 3 different parts of the Torah. The Torah doesn't tell you why not. You can eat meat separately, you can have milk separately, but you cannot mix them. Why not? This mitzvah of kashrut, of eating kasher, is one of the mitzvot of the Torah under the banner of Chok. We don't have an open, revealed reason why there is a prohibition. But I think that with the Zohar of today, that describes the color white, represents Hashem's mercy and compassion. That's why Rabbeinu Hari used to wear white during the day of Shabbat. And many people who follow the Kabbalistic tradition, on Shabbat, they dress white. I personally on Shabbat have 4 garments that are usually white: the shirt, the tzitzit, and the undergarments. I don't wear a white suit. I'm not in that level. Maybe some of you are, but it's not for me. My rabbis never wore, but I remember that the rabbis mentioned that to wear on Shabbat some white garment represents the holiness and the purity and the godliness what the day of Shabbat means. It doesn't mean that you cannot wear a color shirt, God forbid, but I'm only just creating an awareness that how the color white is something so special. I'll share with the Kahal something that I mentioned the other day to a young married couple. We were discussing the topic of family purity, and I shared with them the statement from the Gemara that says that during the moment that a mother nurses a child, the mother usually does not have a cycle. That's the nature of life. Most of the time during the moment of nursing, a wife does not have the cycle. Why not? That is a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Cycle and milk are both of them liquids, but one of them is din and one of them is rahamim. The milk that nourishes the child is the mercy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if there is milk coming out from the mother, so that sends on vacation the monthly cycle. Something unbelievable that the Talmud says. So here comes the Ben Ish Hai, and it says the following. When you milk the cow, you take milk out of the cow, that action is called hesed. You're doing the cow a favor. You're relieving the pain from the cow. That's called hesed. And it's actually a pasuk in the book of Tehillim, Berahamav al kol ma'asav. The mercy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not only on humans, it's on every single creation of the world. And part of our mitzvot in the world, a commandment of the Torah, is to imitate Hashem. Like God takes care of the sick, of the widow, of the orphan, we do the same. So when we milk the cow, we are helping the cow, we're relieving the pain. So now we understand that milk, white, as the Zohar says, it's Hesed and Rahamim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meat, red. You cannot just eat the meat. You need to slaughter the animal. You need to check the animal. You need to check the animal externally and internally. You need to check the knife, that the knife is kosher. You need to open the animal internally. Make sure that there are no damage to the internal organs, no puncture lungs, etc. And then you need to rinse the animal, the meat, so to speak, and then you need to soak and salt the meat, and then you need to rinse it again, and only then the meat is suitable for consumption. How many steps did the meat goes by? Just the mere presence of blood makes meat midat hadin. So somebody from the audience is asking the question. So Rabbi, why do we eat meat then? Don't eat meat. Because if meat is din and milk is hesed, maybe I should only drink milk and don't eat meat. The short answer is no. No. Why not? Because the moment that we don't eat meat, in a way, we are equaling intellectually an animal to a human being. And this is not the formula of the Torah. They tried this formula for 1600 years. From day one of the creation till after the flood, no humans ate animals. They eat fruit, vegetable, grass. They ate like animals, eating grass, etc. Haz v'shalom, I don't want it to sound offensive. We're going back to that style now. People eat a lot of fruits. Right, out of health reasons. I'm going to explain now. Now, the meat topic. And I'm not talking about kashrut, haz v'shalom. I'm talking about the spiritual significance of meat and the spiritual significance of milk. So when we mix them, the meat and the milk together, so now we're creating an infusion of two forces. The forces of judgment with the forces of compassion. That's why from a Kabbalistic perspective, you're not allowed to do this. For those watching the video, two opposing forces. So according to the halakha, when you pray, how do you pray? The right over the left. That's how you pray. You put the right over the left. I'll prove you one more time. One more. Hasidic garments. Hasidic cloth. When you go to the Hasidic store to buy a men's shirt, the men's shirt in the Hasidic world, it's like a lady's shirt. The right over the left. Because the buttons, correct, they put them the opposite. This one is left over right. Left over right. But if you go to a Hasidic store, they sell you a men's shirt, right over left. Hasidic jackets, right over left. They don't use single button like we do. They only use double-breasted or triple-breasted button with the right over the left. For this reason that we're discussing today. Because the right side, it carries a huge benefit to the person. Based on all of the above, the halakha is that we are allowed to eat meat and we are allowed to drink milk and eat dairy, but they need to be a complete separation. And we discussed this topic today, not related to today's Gemara, but a different Gemara, when we talk about Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babel. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babel, after the destruction of the first temple, kidnapped thousands of Jewish boys and girls for unholy purposes. And what was the formula of blocking the soul of these holy, pure children? Giving them meat and milk together to eat. Kosher. But tarif. Because the moment that we mix meat and dairy, it becomes tarif. This topic brings me to speak about an unpleasant topic. I did some research and I was able to verify the following information. There is a restaurant that opened up in the North Tower. Have you heard of this restaurant? It's not kasher. Don't say that. The meat is kasher. The cheese on the burger is optional. And milk is available for coffee. And it's open on Shabbat. So don't say kasher. You're not allowed to enter that store. It's kosher style, the way in some stores. Maybe the meat is kasher because the owner happens to be Jewish and he doesn't want to have the guilty feeling of offering non-kosher meat. But offering optional cheese on the burger, open on Shabbat, and milk available for the coffee, Rabotai, and you can use my name. You're not allowed to buy any food from there. Taref mamash. Even that the meat does not touch milk, the fact that the milk is available and they promoting this type of behavior, you're not allowed to buy from there. Don't buy nothing. I would not walk into the store even. And I know that what I'm saying is wrong, and I know that a few years back someone filed a lawsuit against the rabbi for making such a statement, but obviously the lawsuit was thrown out simply because he's selling taref. And the rabbi's duty and responsibility is what? To protect the community. There is no lashon hara when you protect people. If you know that there is somebody is a schemer, or somebody is a swindler, or somebody sells non-kosher food to people believing that it's kosher, mitzvah lefarsemo. There is no avon, it's a mitzvah actually. Because people are innocent. People are good. They see Israeli sounding names. Shawarma, shish kebab, hummus, tahina, ba'lawa, ma'mul, kibbe. What do you say? Oh, must be kosher. No. In Brazil, the first time I was in Brazil in my life, and the Brazilians that are here can relate to what I'm going to say now, I asked my father, alav shalom, oh, so many kosher stores. I was a child. I was maybe 10, 11 years old. Why? Because in every gas station, they say, we sell kibbe and lahmajin. In every gas station, in every bar in the corner, they sell kibbe and lahmajin. So in my mind, as a child, I thought that kibbe and lahmajin is only Jewish food. But then I was explained that Brazil has such a mega population of Egyptian and Lebanese origin, Christian, Goim, so it became like a natural local food, like, you know, like the Brazilian coffee, like tacos in Mexico, or pizza in Italy or New York. In Brazil is kibbe, esfija, lahmajin, this is the population food of the Goim. Even every day, you know what the Brazilian goy eats every day? Rice with hamon. That's the meal, the national meal, feijoada, eh? The rabbi is also from Brazil, so he relates. We go back 40 years almost.
My neighbor.
Yes, we live in the same neighborhood. Okay? So he can tell you that kibbe, coxinha, esfija, right? All these are typical Sephardic food or Arabic food. Doesn't mean that it's kasher. So Rabotai, I respectfully tell you that this establishment unfortunately does not meet kashrut standards. We're trying to work behind the scenes to see if something can be done to remedy the situation. As of far, I was told not, but we're not going to give up so fast and so easily because we need to try. But if you see people raving about this restaurant or inviting you to this restaurant or bringing food from this restaurant, you must regretfully tell them, kapara on the money, you cannot touch it, you cannot eat it, you cannot smell it. Because the Yetzer Hara comes through the nose as well. Now, The Zohar writes even further. You know that in the Bet HaMikdash there was a mega miracle based on the performance, erase the word, based on the behavior of the Jewish people. Mega miracle seen by everyone during the day of Yom Kippur. They used to tie, if you remember this Gemara in Yomah, this reminds me of my childhood teacher. I used to have a teacher who used to teach us with a stick. But this is only a stirrer. His stick was 3 feet long, 2 inches wide. He didn't hit us on the head, but on the table. That was a wake-up call if you fall asleep in the Talmud Torah class.
On the fingers?
On the fingers, I was a good student. But my ears were pulled a few times. And I was standing facing the wall during recess because I used to talk too much in the class. In a good way. In a good way, not, God forbid, disrespectful, but still. Anyways, so let's go back. There used to be this red string tied up to one of the columns of the Bet HaMikdash. And the red string started being red, but at the end of Yom Kippur, it turned white. Is a pasuk that says, Im yu hatatechem kashani, kashelek yalbinu. If our sins represents the redness of the color, let it become white as the snow. So the Zohar says that this reverse of the color, it represented Hashem forgiving the Jewish people. And not only that, Hashem cleansing the neshama of Am Israel through the forgiveness of Teshuvah. So it says the Zohar Kadosh, a pasuk from Shir HaShirim, Dodi li va'ani lo haro'eh bashoshanim. Dodi li, my beloved Hashem is to me. Va'ani lo, meaning to say, Hashem forgives me when I'm heading His way. Haro'eh bashoshanim, the shepherd among the roses. The roses is a term utilized in Shir HaShirim in 2 different perspectives. Number 1, the pasuk writes, describing the essence of the Jewish people, Keshoshana ben ahochim, like a rose among the thorns, like a sheep surrounded by 70 wolves. This is what Am Israel is. Continues the Zohar Kadosh, and it says, we have the Ketoret. The Ketoret, to give you a small introduction, is not only something that we read 3 times a day in our daily prayers, before Shaharit, after Shaharit at the end, and before Mincha. Asori ve'asiporem ve'ahelvena ve'alebona, the 11 spices that they used to be offered in the Bet HaMikdash. And the Zohar Kadosh explains that these 11 spices, they were made into a mixture, into an incense by the Kohen Gadol. And guess what he says? Some of the spices that were utilized came from a very red, dark color. Some of the spices, or the incense, was white. But what was the miracle? That the smoke that came from the Ketoret was only white. Unbelievable. It's like a fire. What color is the fire? Red, orange, yellow. What color is the smoke? White or dark. Depends on the combustion of the items that it burns. Sometimes it's dark, but many times it's white. And it says, how could it be? You started red and now it's white. It says that the smoke of the Ketoret was a sign of Hashem blessing the Jewish people with peace and harmony and holiness. Why? Because the Ketoret, in a way, represented the unity of the Jewish people. That's what's written in the Zohar of today. The Zohar Kadosh continues in this topic, and it finishes with one short statement. All this is beautiful, the spices of the Ketoret, the burning of the incense, the different colors, but now I don't have a Beit HaMikdash. I don't have a Kohen Gadol. I don't have a Ketoret. What is my Ketoret? What is my offering? Amar Rabbi Yossi, Tefilato shel ha'adam mechaperet binkom korban. It says that the prayer that a person does, it's like a sacrifice to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Remember yesterday when I talked in the beginning of the class about that when a person fasts, a person does a ta'anit, it's like a person is offering an offering to Hashem. Why? Because I'm making a sacrifice. I'm not eating. Still, I'm burning calories. So the lack of food and the burning of the calories by fasting and my effort to do the ta'anit, it's equal to a korban. Now, the mouth, the words of the mouth, the Zohar says, equals to the smoke of the Ketoret. Fascinating pirush. And the prayer, it's my korban. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what kind of sacrifice I'm offering to a Kadosh Baruch Hu? And only each person can answer this question honestly and privately by themselves. How is our prayer? And I'm not even talking about how is our reading. I'm talking about overall. How is our prayer? Is a prayer in the proper way? Is a prayer with the proper happiness, with the proper thought? Do we understand the prayer? These are different varieties that can enhance the beautiful gift of tefillah that we do every day. And the beautiful part of this sentence at the end of today's Zohar is that you don't need to go to the Beit HaMikdash. You don't need to spend money on a sacrifice. You don't have to wait in line until the Kohen does your animal and you hope that the animal is going to come out kasher, but it's on our own backyard. Is in the synagogue, because we need to know, Rabotai, that during the moment of prayer, during the moment of learning, we are in Eretz Israel. And during the moment of tefillah, it's like we are in the Beit HaMikdash. So you don't need to travel. You don't need to go 15-hour flight to Israel. You don't need a passport for that. We need to make the effort of coming and valuing the few minutes of the day that we have to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, specifically during the moment of prayer.
Rabbi, isn't it the time maybe, like the sacrifice?
Repeat that again.
Maybe it's the time because, you're spending an hour praying.
Of course. Coming to shul is sacrifice. Walking to shul is sacrifice. All of the above are part, but the sacrifice itself is the actual offering. And that's what the Zohar is referring to. Sure, for coming to shul, for coming to learn you get the reward for coming, the reward for sitting, and the reward for learning. Tefillah is the same. But the bottom line is, how is our tefillah? Maybe you walk 2 miles. I'm going to say something heavy now. You walk 2 miles to shul, but when you come to shul, the only thing you do is talk to people. You don't pray. You know what the halakha says? Stay home. Mm-hmm. True, by the way. Chas v'shalom. Why? Not only you're not praying, not only you're sinning, you're causing others to talk. Mm-hmm. Don't take this to heart what I just said. But the idea is that we need to be in control of our tefillah. Know your friend sitting next to you. He tells you when to talk, he tells you when to listen, he asks you questions. He's bothering you, Tell them respectfully, I like to pray. We talk after tefillah. Finish the tefillah, finish. He's bothering you, switch seats. I don't think that people, God forbid, will continue bothering us. Sometimes people don't know better. It happens to me almost daily. People come to speak to me during the Kaddish, during the Hazarah, and not Hatzalah questions. What time is Minha tonight? Things that can wait. So respectfully, I signal to the person, after tefillah we talk. Why? Because if I talk during tefillah, so what can I expect from somebody else? Understand? That's a short message of the Musar. I'm going to give you the short version. There are 10 obligations that a husband must do for his wife. I'm sure the ladies want me to continue talking. I know you want me to. I know you want me. I know. You too, by the way. But I'm not. This is a topic that I've discussed in the past, and God willing, I will talk about it in the future. But I tell you 3 things from the Torah. A husband must provide for his wife. A husband must provide food for his wife, clothing, emotions, affection, intimacy, and whatever goes under that banner of the 3 Torah obligations. Additional obligations, healing, God forbid in the case of illness, paying a ransom in the case of kidnapping, burial in the case of, God forbid, passing, mourning in the case of passing, Has v'shalom. But these are some of the things that are stipulated in when a person gets married in the ketubah. Some of them are explained, some of them are hidden between the lines, but take my word. So the Musar of today says, like we take care of our wife, we need to take care of our second wife. As I said yesterday, we all have 2 spouses, the physical wife and the spiritual wife. The spiritual wife is the neshama. So now, how much do you need to invest for your neshama? How much it costs you to support your second wife? Your first wife, we already know how much it costs you. You need to pay all the bills of the home. You need to make sure to have health insurance, life insurance, burial insurance, retirement insurance, jewelry insurance, all of the above. Okay, I'm a comedian sometimes. Doesn't mean that you need to have all of the above. But the idea is the husband needs to give the wife a certain peace of mind. But to the wonderful ladies as well, they also need to give the husband a peace of mind. What does that mean? Don't ask for things which are beyond the affordability level. It doesn't mean that the husband should not give gifts to the wives. Actually, a wedding anniversary, birthday, birth, a holiday, the husband must have a certain type of attention to his wife. And I'm talking about the wives because sometimes husbands experience great pressure from their own spouses. Oh, my sister has it. My cousin bought it. My next door neighbor has it. So what? I'm sorry, ladies. Be happy with your blessing. You don't know what happens behind closed doors. Maybe they have a nice car, a nice home, but husband and wife don't talk to each other. Like a case that I'm handling now. 1.5 years, they're not talking to each other. Sleeping in separate bedrooms. I only became aware of this yesterday. So I'm already in Hatzalah mode. You understand? Life is not so simple, my friend. Count your blessings. Count your blessings. You speak to your wife. She says, stop calling me. This guy will wish that his wife says to him 2 words. Good morning. Can you imagine silent treatment for 1.5 years? Beautiful home. Beautiful car. Successful business. Children grandchildren, something is going on. Mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I don't want to go further because it's not a happy story. I'm hoping to share with you a happy ending result. So far I tried yesterday with not success. But I'm not going to throw in the towel in the first round. At least I need to go 3 rounds, right? That's a loss in boxing. 3-round rule, 3 knockout rule. I'm going to try. I'm in first round, 0 yet. But again, you know me already. So the Musar of today, it says that the husband also needs to take care of his neshama. But the beautiful part of this Musar of today, from Sefer Haredim, is that taking care of our neshama doesn't cost money. It costs time and effort. Prayer, Torah learning, mitzvot, ma'asim tovim. That some mitzvot come with a price tag, sure. To buy a pair of tefillin, you need to buy it. To buy a talet, you need to buy it. To buy books, you need to buy it. But it says that like the body needs to eat 7 days a week, our neshama needs to be taken care of 7 days a week. It's like you pay your bills at home. You don't tell your wife, I hope you don't, because if you do, you have problems at home. You tell your wife, okay, you pay the light bill from the 1st to the 15th, and I pay from the 16th to the 30th. God forbid. I know that I'm sharing with you extreme abnormal cases. But I remember many years ago that there was such a controlling husband that he will do the groceries for his wife. I go to the market, I spend the money. So when she approached me, I said to him, you're not normal. Let your wife go to the supermarket. So then she used to go and he used to scrutinize everything that she spent. Baruch Hashem, they are divorced. And I usually don't say Baruch Hashem, but I discovered so many ways of abuse at many levels that the rabbi said, Rabbi, stop working. Send them each one to their way. Baruch Hashem, both of them found their soulmate. And they are happy. Round 2. But I remember vividly this case a few years ago. They used to go together to the grocery shop. He used to check every product before he agreed to put it on the basket. So, and not for kashrut reasons. Okay, I need to clarify this. This is, God forbid, an illness. Every person in their home needs to have the space. But kavod, love, respect, mutual respect, and communication, it's mandatory. In a few weeks from now, we're going to have a special class for ladies. For ladies, by ladies only, in how to enhance emotional relationship between husband and wife. So I'll let you know when the details become available, and feel free to come, because I think that one of the main concerns that we hear is the lack of emotional bonding in a relationship, but Be'ezat Hashem will be reignited. My dear friends, I'd like to wish everybody to have a lovely day. Ha'ilui Nishmat Eliyahu Hamar Ben Sarah. We are going to say the Ashkava right after Aleinu Leshabeach. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.